Hello, ladies. Welcome to this week's episode of Sisterhood Stories. Last week, we got to hear from amazing women who talked about their lives as single women. They talked about how they lived fulfilled. They talked about how, honestly, they enjoyed being single. They talked about the hardships of being single and everything else in between. This week, we get the opportunity to sit down with some of the most amazing moms that I know. So they're going to tell us the joys about being a mom. They're going to tell us maybe some horror stories about being moms, but really they're just going to meet us exactly where they are and explain their journey and hopefully encourage us at the end of it. So ladies, if you don't mind, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am Melissa Smith. I've been married to my husband Chad for 25 years. Attended CLC our whole marriage, and we have 5 children from 4 to 21.
I am Angie Landers, and my husband and I have been married about 17 and a half years. I have my oldest son from my first marriage, and then my husband and I have 2 kiddos together that are 11 and 15. And then just this past year, we adopted my niece, who is 18, and we have attended CLC for 16 plus years.
Hi, I'm Anita Ball. I've been married this year, will make 9 years, and I have a 5-year-old, Alyssa Ball, and then Anthony Jr., we call him Ace, he's 2, and I've been attending CLC a little over 10 years, and I'm happy to be here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so ladies, first question is I would love for you guys to tell us a little bit about the dynamics of your family.
Well, with 2 little humans, my life is busy. I'm running, I'm playing, a lot of crying, but a lot of outside time. Anthony, he works a lot. He's in the entertainment world. I work in childcare. I'm an assistant director at a childcare facility. And so my heart and passion is kids. And so I'm with kids all day. But I think sometimes just kind of learning to embrace just my 2 little ones and knowing that I can just be mom and I don't have to be the leader and assistant director over a whole building full of kiddos. I love my kids being with me all the time, and so that's something I'm learning to say it's okay that grandparents take the kids for a day, even overnight, because growing up, that didn't happen. I come from a big family. Mom, dad, been married 34 years. I have a twin sister, and I have 3 brothers. And so we just a really close, bonded family, and we just didn't travel to other people's homes.
Well, as I said, I have 4 kids that are from 11 to 24, so kind of all seasons. My 24-year-old is married. He's been married for about a year and a half now, so that's a fun season. And then my 18-year-old, we just adopted this year and have had her for 5 or 6 years now. And so that's been awesome, like just to bring her into our family, and she just fits just so perfectly into the mix of our world. And then we have a 15-year-old son and then an 11-year-old daughter. So, I just feel like we've kind of gone through this season of the babies. And I used to own a preschool, and so I also got to be with my babies when they were little. And so now we're in this season of teenagers, which I don't know which is better, babies or teenagers, because it's just a different season and it has its own challenges. But it's fun, and I'm trying to just cherish. We have 6 years left, and they'll all be gone, and that's just it's hard to think about. So.
You were also saying that you're not officially a grandma.
That's right. That's right. I'm not officially a grandma yet. Austin has said it's going to be at least 5 years. I'm like, fine. But I have my best friend. She has little kids, and then also my nephew. They have little kids, and so I have babies in my world who I feel like, I may not be their grandma, but they call me Gigi, so I'm okay with that.
The big age gap from 4 to 21. The 2 oldest, 19 and 21, are biological children. And then I have another 19-year-old that's 5 months younger than the first. that's adopted. And then I have a 7-year-old that's adopted and a 4-year-old that's adopted. But we're just family. It's just, they're just all mine. So I am in a season of like now becoming a mother-in-law because my 21-year-old with the wedding, and then a 4-year-old that is starting kindergarten this fall. So it's just this big wild gap. But I enjoy all the seasons, and I'm excited about the new season of like mother-in-law and like what's to come in the next few years, like just with the new relationship. So now 6 kids I consider.
Yes, yes. So, okay, I know that for some women, motherhood is not always in their ideal of life. And so I know tons of women who are like, I am really fine just being the aunt, right? Just being the fun aunt, and like that's all I ever want. So my question is motherhood something that you guys have always wanted to be a part of your life?
For me, yes. Growing up, I had a cousin that lived very close that was 10 years younger than me. My sister's 3 years younger than me. And so it was like getting to play baby doll with her growing up, and she still lives close to us. So I knew I wanted to be a mother. had no clue, like, stay-at-home mom, a working mom. I didn't know. And then when my oldest, Cole, was born, as soon as they put him in my hands, I looked at my husband and I was like, I'm not going back to work. And that was not part of our plan at all. But he just looked at me and could tell, like, I was serious. My heart was serious. I just couldn't do it. And so he just said, okay, we're going to figure it out. And we did. We've figured it out. And so it's just, I don't know. Yeah, mothering was always part of mine. And then we thought 2 or 3 kids, and we never thought foster care or adoption. But the Lord brought us into that world in 2011. And so I've learned a lot more about mothering. And it's just been a really good journey, hard journey, but a good journey that the Lord's put us on.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Definitely. So yes, I would say being a mom has always been something that I looked forward to and was excited. I mean, I graduated high school, was married the next year, had my first kid the next year. I mean, it was just like, that was just what I wanted to do. Didn't know the seasons of life that I was going to go through in becoming a mom, but I had my first one at 20, had my second one at 29, and my third one at like 32, I think. So, I got to kind of having 9 years between the first 2. It was quite the gap, and I felt like I was starting all over again. But it's been so good. And then I think, like Melissa, being able to adopt, and even though she was my niece, it's a different love. It's just you learn the dynamics of being a blended family, from whether it was my first marriage ending and then starting a new family and then bringing in another child, and just all those dynamics of having a blended family. Yeah, it's hard some days, but it's so good. You learn so much through it.
Yes, I've always wanted to be a mom. My mom, she's a stay-at-home mom, and just the way she poured into our life, I knew I wanted to be just that. I knew it was some struggle days, I knew it was some hard days, but she always made it feel like it was rewarding at the end. And I think that's kind of what I live my life on. I wake up knowing that I may be faced with some challenges. I might have some, meltdowns and some crying mornings, but I know the love that's in my heart that I'm able to give to them is going to be so fulfilling raising them. And I had to, decide what number I wanted to stop at. But it's been great, seeing the change from going from one child and then adding a child on. So having Alyssa and then having Ace, and then now they are in the stage of life where they are playing with each other. They are growing, they are changing, but they are learning to be there for each other. And I've always worked in church and being in children's ministry, and I think that even drew my heart closer to wanting to be a mom, because I know the love in my heart is going to go out to them and it'll stay in their heart forever.
Yeah. That's awesome. So the next question is this what you expected mom life to look like?
Yes and no. Because you get this image from TV, from magazines, like the white big cover getting thrown up, and you are under it, and you're snuggling with your baby, and then it's like, what's next? And I think that's sometimes where I'm at, like. With the good days, you hear about all the, oh, he's in my arms, she's in my arms, I snuggle, but I think sometimes they forget, like, what about mom? I think we sometimes get left out the picture and it's all focused on the baby. And I think that's where the struggle becomes when mom loses herself. Of course, we want the baby to gain all the kisses and the hugs, but that's my struggle. Like, I'll wake up in the morning, and if daddy is already gone, I have two little ones. I have to get dressed, get in the car, which is most of the times the difficult part. Get buckled up, get all the bags out the car,
Yeah.
make it to the job or the center to drop them off, and then is everything in between. So I think sometimes we forget the small in between things that cause moms to take a deep breath and relax. And I think that's what I've been living my life on. When things don't go the way I want it to go, or plans don't go the way I really expected them to go, it's okay. Resume, take a deep breath, and move forward, and know that however it ends, it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what I expected. Just being honest. I feel like it's probably, from whatever expectations I had, has been what I thought it was going to be. But I also feel like my view of motherhood was skewed growing up because I lost my biological mom when I was so young. And so I grew up with my stepmom, but also with my grandmas, who were mother figures to me. And so I had a lot of different examples of what it meant to be a mom, very different examples. And so I think for me, when I became a mom, I had to really figure out what I wanted to be as a mom. And that's been a journey because one of my grandmas spoiled me rotten, did everything for me, and so I wanted to do that with my kids. But then you also learn that when you're spoiling them rotten, you're not teaching them sometimes what they need to learn. And so that has definitely been something, especially now that they're teenagers, I feel like I've had to really shift my thinking in, yeah, you can spoil them and love them, but you still have to teach them how to fly out of the nest, you know. So trying to find that balance has been interesting for me.
One of the unexpected for me, I grew up with both of my parents, very blessed that, my parents now have been married 51 years, and they live down the road from me, and my sister and her husband and kids live down the road from me. And so it's kind of like another generation because that's how we grew up too. Both of my sets of my grandparents lived close to me. I had aunts, uncles, cousins close, and so I wanted to recreate that for my kids. And church was important. So that aspect I knew I wanted to do as a parent, and it's gone along kind of as planned. My first kind of interruption with what I dreamed parenting would be was my second child. My daughter, Morgan, as she's 19, was born with heart disease. And so having her taken from me and not holding her till she was 3 weeks old, open heart surgery, well, that interrupted my plans. And then 18 months of keeping her alive, that interrupted my plans. And just lots of moments where I had to go back and go, okay, God, you have to do this because this isn't something I know. This isn't something my family grew up, we haven't experienced. And then the whole world of foster care and then adoption. And my sister has 3 adopted children, 2 biological, same as I do. And so I don't think any of us had that plan when we were like, I want to become a mother. I want, all of this. But God knew better. He knew more. And yes, parenting children from trauma is hard. Parenting toddlers is hard. And then also parenting young adults that you're trying to launch is hard, because it's like, did I do enough? Have I instilled enough? Can I cheerlead them on enough with this new season, and find my new role in their life, especially with my oldest, now that marriage and, my voice needs to be second to his wife. And so just lots of new learning, but yeah, not what I had pictured. It started out that way, and then God just expanded it. So it was good.
So what are some of, whether if you want to talk about a joy of parenting, if you maybe want to talk about a troubled time of parenting, so just kind of talk about a little bit more about your experience, whether that's currently or whether that's something that you've experienced in the past.
Currently, I think it's odd I could say this, but for me, now parenting all different types of children, we had 27 foster kids come through our house. Parenting the child with heart disease in some aspects was a little easier because I had a plan.
Yeah.
And I had doctors, and it's like, you do X, Y, Z, and she'll do great. And then parenting children of trauma, and now parenting a child with ADHD, that's taught me a whole new, every day, Lord, I'm not patient enough. You are teaching me a new thing today, because he is all go, all day, with the million questions. And so I am learning a lot there, and I know I don't handle it well a lot of times. And so I am seeking, out those who have a voice, who has experienced it, or who are therapists, or just whatever. Like, how can I be the best mom to this child? Because they are different than the other children.
That's good.
And I think we all will agree, if there's more than one, how we parent is customized to that child, because that child needs something different. They respond differently. They need physical touch, or they need words of affirmation. And so I am definitely still, I don't have the mothering thing down, but I'm still learning. I'm still asking the questions. I'm still checking out the resources. And, and one of my children is biracial. So I am reaching out to my community and friends and, that I consider family, advise me, talk to me, because that is also something, that wasn't in my plan when my husband and I got married, because adoption wasn't in our plan. But again, God knows, and he has great things for us, so.
But God, right? Gosh, I feel like probably one of my biggest joys has just been teaching them about God, and getting to see them learn and walk in that. But also allowing them to have a voice, because I feel like that was not something that I had that maybe with my dad growing up, but not so much with my mom. It was more of a just do as I say, just do it. Yeah. So learning how to allow them to have a voice and to have an opinion, and to not think that my way is always the best way. I have learned so much from my kids of just, being able to say, okay, well, what do you think? And really listening to them, and really saying, okay, well, that's not maybe how I would do it or how I would say it, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong. So that's been one of the biggest lessons I feel like I've learned. And just allowing them, like you said, just to be individuals, and parenting them according to their individual needs. We most recently did the love language test, and that was so cool for them to learn that about each other. Oh, okay, you don't like to be touched or hugged, and you do, so that's been really cool too, because now they'll be like, remember my love language,
So I'll go on to, I think for me, with raising little ones, just teaching them love and compassion at a young age, and letting them know forgiveness. And so just teaching them valuable lessons even at a young age, to me, is going to impact them as they continue to grow. I think for me, when I had my son, it was very hard to connect because physically I wasn't there to connect with him. I went through a lot of pain after having him, and I think letting mothers know that it's okay. Like, it's okay if you don't have that connection in the beginning of presenting this child to the world and presenting that child to you, but learning to reach out to other people to be able to have that support. And so that's something that I've been encouraging parents at my center. Like, if you are struggling, know that we are a support to you, not just your child. And so I think the more we build our support system as moms and parents, we are able to lean on our sisters to be able to give us advice when we are in that deep hurting place.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next question, and this is kind of a little bit hinting off of what you were talking about. So, and you've said this a couple times of just like losing yourself as a mom, right? Because I don't know what it's like to have littles, but I watch you guys do it so well. You know, watching you chase them or pick them up when they're crying, all of these things. And so, but what do you do for you to stay healthy so that you can be the best version of yourself for your kids? What does that look like for you?
For me, routine. Like, a schedule and a routine is what helps me. If I'm off that schedule and routine, I notice it and I try to find things to get back on it quick. And I was just telling Melissa, like, in the morning time, I wake up very early, like 4:45, 5 o'clock. And I love waking up early. The house is peaceful. I'm able to set everything in order before the lights come on. And so for me, it's all about, if I can't keep myself healthy mentally, I'm already off balance. And so really, when you're off balance, you struggle. And so for me, and having a good supporting husband, it just helps being able to make their lives run smoother, make me be a better mom, make me be a better sister, a co-worker, because I'm able to be healthy. That means making sure what I'm putting in my body is good for me to function throughout the day instead of crash early, you know, because what we put in our body makes a difference. And just learning that if I'm not healthy, my family is going to struggle from that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, everything she just said. I am such a routine. Like, I have to be organized. I have to just, like you said, like, get up early and start my day and, like, start it centered with God, start it in the Word, and that will set my tone for the day. But, you know, I can do that, and then we walk out the door, and by the time I get the kids to school, I'm losing my mind. So, you know, there's that part of it too. But I think it's just making sure that I am fueling myself with the Word, and now learning how to fuel myself with food, and that not be an addiction, so to speak, if you want to look at it that way, because I feel like for me, like, I am an emotional eater, and so I tend to, you know, lean to that. So learning how to eat healthy, learning how to keep my mind healthy. And, you know, I do want to say, you know, after I had my first son, I was, you know, 20. I went through postpartum really bad, and have been on antidepressants since then, and that's, you know, 24 years. And have tried, you know, several times to get off of them, and have just learned that it's just something that my body needs. So, you know, I just want to throw that out there because, you know, there's such a stigmatism to medicating yourself. But I just look at it like taking blood pressure medication. It's just something that my body needs. So that if that's what I need to keep my mind healthy so that I can be the best mom that I can be, the best wife that I can be, the best child of God that I can be, that's okay.
What both of them said. I think we're probably, like Miss Cozy's taught, you know, classes before. We probably are all earthy. We're very grounded women here. But a couple of things with me when I am struggling is I have the girlfriends that I text, and I want to be the girlfriend that my friends can text, according to which child it is. And because I am multi-seasons, I've been the baseball mom, and so that was my mom's, you know. I've been the dance mom, that was my, you know, and then now adoptive mom. And I have connected with friends here at CLC who are adoptive moms, and we are tight. And we may not see each other for months, especially with everything that's been going on in the world, but any of us can text, and one of them lives in another country now. We can text, and we are right there. We are praying, we are interceding, we are doing whatever. And then when we do get to be together and enjoy a meal or whatever, it's just that celebration of, you get me, I get you, I'm not alone, this isn't crazy. All of those things, and also self-care, because I'm married, it is a priority for date nights. It may not happen as often as we want, but those are priorities. And then at least once a year, a weekend, whatever time we can do, get away. Yeah. You know, more than just 2 or 3 hours, but an extended period of time where we know the kids are happy, they're having fun with aunts or grandparents or whatever, and that we are just taking a deep breath, refueling us as a couple so we can be the best team we can be for our kids. Because, you know, when you're doing this together, you know, it's that importance of your spouse. If I see you, yes, I'm 99% consumed and busy with the children because they are demanding so much and they need so much, especially little ones who can't survive without their mama. But that importance of taking the time for your spouse as well.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, one last question, and then, so obviously you guys are on all different seasons. How would you encourage another mom? So that mom could be in the same season as you, in a different season. What encouragement would you give them?
Don't do it alone. We aren't created to do life alone, no matter what path we are on. And I think it's even more so for women. If you don't have children, if you do have children, if you have grandchildren, if you're married, if you're single, you find the people who can relate, and you dive into them when you're struggling. You celebrate with them when wonderful things happen. You know, I was just so giddy to text my girlfriends, you know, when my son got engaged. That was just a whole new celebration. That was a first for me, and they celebrated with me. And then since, you know, that, now 3 of those women also have children getting married this year. And so it's like we're just all celebrating that together. But then just telling your stories like we're doing now of, I've struggled with this, and then women will see and identify themselves in our stories and go, I'm not alone. And hopefully hearing all of this is going to build community with the women at CLC, the mothers at CLC, because they're going to see us, or they're going to listen to other women at church and go, I identify with you, and I didn't know your story, but now I know your story. So dive into each other, ladies. Dive into each other. That's how God created us.
Yeah.
Yes. I would say give yourself some grace, you know. We are not perfect. We're never going to be perfect. And sleep when the baby sleeps. Let the dishes go in the sink for a day. Like, it's fine. Like, just give yourself some grace. Take care of yourself, and community. You have to be surrounded with people that you can do life with. I would be lost without my community. So lost.
Everything these ladies have said. Support, communicate, and know that you are loved. Know that you are not doing life alone. Know that there is a story out there that is just like yours or similar to it, and know that it's okay to struggle. I think that's the hardest part for me in the beginning. I felt it wasn't okay to struggle as a mom. I was supposed to meet these standards, and when I wasn't meeting those standards, I felt guilty.
Yeah.
And at this stage in life, if I get overwhelmed or frustrated, it's okay. I tell myself I'm in a struggle moment, but I'm going to take a few deep breaths or walk away or take some long walks and know that I have a support system to call. If it's a girlfriend, if it's, a family member, if it's my mom, to just let it out. Don't let it build up where it takes over you and it consumes you. Something that I learned from W2W, writing it down. Miss Cozy teach journal. And really when I got through my hardest moments in life is when I wrote it down and reflect on it. And so even if you can't empty those thoughts out to other women, write it down and then go back and read it again and then compare your feelings and see where you at that time. But know that you are loved, know that someone cares about you and someone is always praying for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so cool too because motherhood, that season is always changing. And so I feel like for me, or what I realize is that as soon as I feel like I understand this season, oh, she's graduating. And it's just like, oh, wait, okay. So it's just you're always moving forward or you're always doing something. And so, but the cool thing is that there's always someone ahead of you. There's always someone ahead of you, or if not, there's someone cheering you on as you figure it out. So thank you, ladies, so much for sharing. I really do think that this will be a huge blessing to everyone who is listening. Ladies, we will put their names and their information out so that if you guys have a story, have questions for any of these ladies, they would love to connect with you, and just, we can all be a big community together. So thank you, ladies, so much for your time. And ladies, we will catch you next week. Okay, it's been long.